Financial position of the OLM is very strong. If you have, I will go through the report in 5 minutes. I think you've heard just a snapshot of what all we want. So in 5 minutes, you have the report, just look it up. The first paper in front, the first report will be our statement of financial position. So it's going to show our assets and net asset balance. So you look there. You see the cash we have in the bank now is $7,992. We have our accounts receivable, and that amount is it has two components to it. $3,400 is for the tickets that we still have outstanding after the inaugural ball. We are trying to go after these people to get the money, and $1,110 is for the membership sponsorship that companies are owing us with the promise to give us money. So now we've done the advertisement. You got to go after them to get the money. Then you look into the fixed asset position column of this report. You will see $560. When we got in this new leadership, there were no computers. Matter of fact, they had 3 broken computers that are no more used for. So we had to extend the useful life of one of them by $560. And then we also bought some, computer materials. So that amount is $560. Liability I talked to you about, $200 in website development, and $83 in a phone bill for March. So you look down, our total liability net asset position will be $12,962. Now, and this is a very key thing. If anybody walking here today, unlike the past, and they ask you, how much does OLM work? At least we all can now say, you know what, we know the net worth of this organization. You cannot buy this organization $12,000. At least we can put it up for more than $12,000. So let's move on, turn the page. Next statement is the statement of activity. Again, we'll show you our contribution. If you go down, we define contribution in the last page. It's $14,905. Membership due, I just told you, $2,730. And pledge revenue, which in a sense is our account receivable balance, but this is now only a statement of financial activity, so we turn it that way. And then the most, I know a lot of people have been talking about this, is the LPRC money. We received $1,500 from the LPRC to undertake a special project, which was a town hall meeting. So we'll go down the list, you see how that money was spent. Matter of fact, we've got tight schedules. So you just go, I think LPRC donation is on schedule 3. So you go down there, you'll see how much we receive and how we spend. So general administration, the summary here is $2,885, but there's a schedule down there, so just go and see that too. The inaugural board schedule is also there, $13,084. We reported that before when we did a profit and loss. I know most of you saw that. So the same thing. So go there, we'll type the schedule, go see what we spend for that as well. LPRC Town Hall Meeting cost us $1,355. The balance of that money, you subtract that from 15, it was reverted to our general account. So we have that money. If people make too much noise, they want their money back. I'm prepared to write the check for $145. I'm just joking. Okay, so turn the page. Then of course the statement of cash flow. So we're adjusting now for our cash balance for the year, for the quarter. So you see cash balance here is $7,992. Turn the page, 10 more minutes, that's enough time.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. So that is it for the report. You have questions, I'm willing to take them. The notes to this statement, we included them so you can read for yourself. This statement actually is governed by FASB 117, which governs all non-profit organizations. So you can read that, and I'll be prepared to talk about them later. So I'm prepared for your question. If you have.
Well, I don't have a question, I only have a comment. And I've been in Minnesota for 18 years. And this is the first time in a town hall meeting OLM is presenting quarterly report on the financial standing of the organization. And on behalf of the audit committee, we will be very glad and prepared to receive a package from you for review. Thank you.
Let me just add to that. I'm looking at your report, and when you look at Schedule 2 on an inaugural ball and dinner, something caught my attention. We have African attire for a guest speaker. You spend $100.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You were not there. I saw it.
Look, that was in the front end of our statement when you saw that on the internet.
Okay, but let me just add to it. We commend you for great work. We commend the administration for being transparent. This is the belief that we have. We believe that the organization should be strong, and you can only be strong when you commit yourself to transparency. And so we look forward to working with you, your team, you as the financial president. Look forward to working with you in the finance committee. And we hope that you can give us some document as soon as possible so we can start working on this, so that the community can see exactly what we're talking about. Because some of the things we're looking at here in the ball figure, we need to be able to split and break it down.
Thank you. Still have to take questions, but I don't want to take all the time, so if that is it, then thank you for your time.
Let's make sure there are no other questions.
What plans do you have? What plans do you have to go after those that have tickets for the inaugural ball? What kind of plans do you have to be able to?
We gave them up to the 31st of last month. We're going to publish the list of those people who have not made good on their payment. But it's going to be easier because, we have managers over the three kinds of, sale stuff we have. So the Omomo there is in charge of the ordinary tickets. So he has a sales force that comprise some people that he gave the tickets to, so we going to go. He knows how to get them. Leofa was in charge of the other segment of it, and the chairman and stuff. So we know. We just told them, listen, tell us what that's it. After today's town hall meeting, start the ball rolling on that.
Do we anticipate as well in our revenue when the Elections Commission finally make their report and they be reporting additional cash to us?
Well, that remains to be seen because the last time when they remitted the last morning, I think I saw they said that was it. They said that was the final remittance they were making. So to say that we are still in anticipation of some money from them, I'm not sure. I don't want to, mislead you. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Maybe we can also talk about this report. I heard you talk about due collection.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm interested in knowing what the method you have in place. Do I walk by the office, or how can one pay his or her bill to the organization? I mean, you just mentioned it, but you didn't.
Yeah, you can. Right now, you can do two things. Yes, you can walk, stop by the office, but you can mail it in too. On the payment roster, we have the address for the office, but the website will be up very shortly. That's my understanding. So we have PayPal on the website, so you don't even have to just pay or something and make the invitation.
What's that money?
It's $60 a year.
A year?
Yes. And followers, you next. Followers first. Then.
Mr. Treasurer, accountability is one of the problems we have in our community. And it troubles me a whole lot because this behavior is affecting all our institutions, including the church. People always have the behavior of not giving an account of what has been given them. And so you mentioned that you took over from the previous administration. What was the amount again? Is it 700?
Yes.
Is there any documented data to kind of substantiate?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Is that the reason why you did not circulate that document?
Well, I don't. At that point, you know, maybe that was an error in judgment, but when we met in a regular committee meeting,
I can address that.
okay,
There's a discrepancy in what the financial report states and what was turnover. And that's why we said that that needs to go through the audit process before we can really know, because they have one figure as a balance and there's another figure as what was actually in the bank. And we don't have an answer to that.
And to add on to what the president is saying, the audit committee have not received any financial document from the Matheson administration like we did with the Wilfred Harris administration, so that we can come up with the net balance from the audit perspective to the Liberian community. We haven't received any document yet. But I'll be talking to I think the financial secretary, who is member of Delta World Church, Annie Zion. I'll be talking to her to see if she can turn the document over to the audit committee in New York.
Thank you. I think we have to be very, very straightforward when it comes to the issue, because these are issues that are affecting our community. And people who make the loudest noise are people who are always afraid to kind of realize that if you are given a piece of job to do, you have to do it to the best of your ability. And at the end of the day, you have to give an account to the community. No one is above the community. We have to understand this. And if we are putting kind of practice, if we are practicing kind of behavior while we are in the diaspora, and then how can we be so critical on government, on other government issues, and we want to be critical of other people. So please, I would suggest very strongly that you go after the whole leadership, let them produce documents. And, and if you need some of our help,
We discussed that. We mentioned some of the problems we have encountered with that kind of transparency issue, but I think will come under other business.
okay. Yeah, my brother wanted.
This is a follow-up to two payments. Have you ever thought about a payroll deduction? I think that would be a very good way to go about two payments.
Okay. I'll take that one advice and I'll let the president know. Thank you, sir. And how many minutes do we have? Okay, 3 more minutes. Okay, yeah.
Yes, I want to know how much ticket or printed for the inaugural ball?
500.
500 tickets. But you have more than 500 people in your home. So if there's anybody, can you explain to the community how did that come about, selling more tickets, and how are you going to generate the funds?
Well, in the first place, I can account we printed 500 tickets, and that was the parameter that we set for the finance committee. So we are able to give you a detailed accountability of 500. We understood that a lot of things happen over there, the doors, people open the door, and people rush in. We know some people who were former in leadership here who, in fact, bulldozed the door. We also heard that the kitchen part of that place, where we had an event, as soon as you open that door, you come out, it's open to the public. So people can walk in without pay. So much happened. And as I said, one thing we are accountable for is the 500 tickets we printed. That tickets were sold out, and that's the money we reported. Thank you.
Excuse me, just for him, okay. I'm going to go on what he just said, is what I'm concerned about. We bought our tickets, got away for our wives, and he came on and said, when the man, please tell them to give other ladies chair. How would that happen? I don't want. I just say it because I've been so concerned. You won't go with a partner and then leave her to give another lady seat when the administration knew that they couldn't have 500 tickets and have more than partner to inside there. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Director, let me just come in there. I think that's where we were supposed to extend an apology to everyone who went to that meeting and went to that program and experienced some inconveniences. It's happened. I know other people who were inconvenienced. We are very sorry. We had thought, we didn't expect the number of people that came there. The enthusiasm in the community was high, and then there were inconveniences that our people felt, and we think we must apologize for it. We're just sorry that it happened that way. We're trying to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Give our money back.
Yes. Yeah, but I think we still, yeah. How about we take our time?
About less than 2 seconds.
You take the line.
I'll take it out.
What happened to the money that some of the people were paid after the ticket was sold? The people who came in late, I was sitting at the table, and the guy was collecting the money right there, watching over.
They sold ticket to nobody.
People giving money in because they didn't have a ticket.
They didn't bring their ticket or they just didn't have the ticket.
Well, they didn't show the ticket to me.
Because we, after 500 tickets were sold out,
Yeah, but there were extra people who should be here who were trying to buy tickets. And some of the money they collected, what they didn't do with it. That's why I wanted to.
and you have that information? Because I don't have
Well, I was
that.
sitting there, I was not responsible for it.
No, I wasn't there, I was inside. Okay.
That sale you're talking about, what we did was that right after the program, we included that a month in the total number of sales that we have from the entrance and the sales of tickets that we have, during the previous days that we sold tickets. So everything was included in the total, the money, published.
Mr. Treasurer, before you take your seat, you keep saying you sold 500 tickets, and yet you're claiming that there's a account receivable pending with respect to the ticket. That kind of conflicting.
No, it's not.
If you say sold,
yes,
meaning
definitely.
you sold all 500.
Definitely. On the authority we report, FASB 117, we are allowed, once we give you tickets, we are allowed to record sales now. And that's why today, even after the inauguration, people who brought tickets back, we refused them.
But then you have to make it clear to the
but that is, once you give tickets out on a crew accounting, you can record sales. That's exactly what we do.
Will be obliged to make themselves available for the audit process. So we thank you for that. And this is something that we want to do on a regular basis, to have other sets of eyes look over the documentation we have. I want to take this time to recognize a friend of our community, Moni Pryor, who's Moni is one of our dear friends out there in the community that works very closely with us. She had an interest in observing this meeting, and we're glad that she's here. Is Robin coming?
She is not.
Okay. At the end of the meeting, doing other business, we're going to ask Moni to make a few comments. Okay, the next item on the agenda here is our political action initiative. As you know, we've been talking about our community getting involved and being more politically active. We have a series of different regulatory challenges and situations that we need to navigate during this process. The first to consider is that OLM is a 501c3 public charity. It took us quite a while, and we complained that we didn't have this. I was one of those who worked along with the former board chair, Marie Hayes, and the law firm of Ryder Bennett, and a Liberian lawyer, Alfred Coleman Jr., to make this process possible. Now, as a 501c3 entity, we are restricted in the amount of lobbying that we can do. We can do a certain amount of lobbying, but there are caps. So how much money we can spend as a portion of our total expenditure, and how much time that we can allocate to that. We are forbidden from endorsing political candidates or opposing political candidates. However, we as individual members of the OLM have the right to exercise our individual franchises. So we've asked everyone to be mindful of that and to be active in the process. We want to institutionalize this. What OLM can do, OLM is authorized to establish a 501c4 lobbying arm. Now, 501c4 is unrestricted in terms of lobbying activities, but it is restricted in terms of endorsement of candidates and contributing financially to candidates. That 501c4 is allowed to establish a political action committee, which then is fully free, can lobby, can contribute money, can support, can oppose. We can talk about it as OLM, we just can't do it, we can't establish a pact. So the board of directors and executive, we're in the process of hashing all of these out to put a structure in that's going to allow us to make our impact politically in the best way that we can as an institution. But in the meantime, we urge everyone as individuals to take note of that and exercise their individual franchise. And very shortly, all of this information will be coming out. And because it's very important for us, we have a number of public policy initiatives that are very dear to our heart, starting with the TPS-DD issue. We are managing at this point to carry on those campaigns within the framework of our limitations, but as we try to get more aggressive into other issues and get more aggressive into even promoting that, these limitations will be a problem. So we do need to find a way to reach beyond that, and that's what this initiative is about. So we wanted to open this discussion so that people know as a community that we want to head in this direction and to get your input, get your questions answered, and so we can fashion a way to move forward and everybody understand what the role of OLM is, what their own individual role is, and what the role of the lobbying arm, the 501c4, is going to be. So I'm going to open this up for discussion. We have 20 minutes, including the time that I took. How much time we have left?
I think it's about 15 minutes left.
Okay. So any questions for Wilson?
Mr. President, what do you intend to do with the action group? What do you want to use the power for? To support political candidates, or what do you want to do?
As OLM, nothing. OLM is, as a Liberian community, what we are saying is that this community needs to have a mechanism to support its friends, okay? And if need be, as some of our friends have said, unelect its opponents. We have 8 members of the Minnesota Congressional Delegation, for example. 7 of them have signed on to the Liberian Immigration Bill, 1 has not. So just for the sake of information, so that people know, in this system, if people are your friends, you help them get elected. If they're not your friends, you try to get somebody else elected.
And that makes it a little bit difficult, Mr. President, because in the absence of the 514, how do you call that? It's 514?
501c4.
501c4, that we're kind of authorized to do that. We cannot support a friend as an organization, as OLM. Individuals can do that.
That's what I just said.
And so if you talk about political action, so it means that you are asking individuals to support friends. That can be done in the process of influencing individuals within our community to kind of support a candidate, to support a friend. But we cannot do it as a group.
Absolutely, not as OLM. OLM cannot do that. And I hope I made that very clear here, that OLM is not in that business. But we as individuals should be in that business. Eventually this community should head in a direction where we have a mechanism to do that institutionally.
So I'm a friend, I follow up.
Okay, quick follow-up.
The first thing you want to do is set up that political action committee. When you have that political action committee, that committee will be very much instrumental in having the 501c4 in process. But one of the main reasons for which you want to have this political action committee that will, in the event, have this 501c status in place is that you want to be able, like President Dwyer said, to support those candidates that are friendly to our issues. And you want to also be able to support people that are Liberians and U.S. citizens if they want to run for political office or so. But the Political Action Committee, through the 501c4 process, will be able to do all of this lobbying, and they will be able to go to Washington, D.C. to lobby our congressional people. We do that in NAFTA, incidentally. We just been having a conference this weekend, and I'm just coming from the conference downtown Minneapolis. Our Political Action Committee go in March every time to Washington, D.C., and these are the people that go and lobby for the interests of international students in the United States. And that's why we need an OLM. Not as an OLM organization, but in fact the lawyer told us that when we set this up, we don't have to call it Organization of Liberians in Minnesota. We can have a different name to it, but it's a political action committee that's for the interests of Liberians.
Yeah. Actually, the name was come up with Liberian Community Action. Yeah.
Yes, in addition to what Mr. Hayes just stated, I've been in the OLM Immigration Committee, and actually we have been out of our boundary because some of our members been going all the way to Washington, D.C. and lobby among some lawmakers to help the Liberian community. And just political action group will be very, very important in the Liberian community. And even if we can even challenge the ULA to even have similar thing, that will be very, very important.
Yeah, and let me make one correction there. I don't know that we have been out of our boundaries, because the test is that you don't spend more than 20% of your time. As a 501c3, OLM is allowed to lobby for direct legislation. You have two kinds of lobbying: grassroots, which is saying let's all get involved in this issue. You have direct lobbying, which is we want you to pass this bill. OLM can do that, but we cannot spend more than 20% of our time doing that. We cannot spend more than 5% of our money doing that. That's the boundary. So we're not prohibited from doing it, but it has to be what they call immaterial to our core mission. And that's why we want to be able to gain more flexibility and not be constrained by those restrictions. So we are.
Yeah, Mr. President, let me just make a correction. It doesn't have to be OLM money. The money must be federal money. Yes. That you don't have to exclude that. Secondly,
no, I disagree with you. Now let's not get into that, but I disagree with you. Yeah.
Not federal money to do the money.
When you get a federal money, you have to report the amount that you're going to use only for lobbying. If you have a private information, that money is not counted as federal money or as a grant.
Well, when we were working on the 501c3 process, the lawyer says the money that comes in that we raise as a 501c3 institution, there's a restriction on what we can use to say for lobbying.
What I'm trying to say here is that if, for example, OLM collected money for inauguration, and if maybe you want to use part of that money, that money, the part that you want to use, you have to make that report, when you do the tax file, that we collected money privately, but we use 5% of it for lobbying purposes. And that money is waiting. And the reason why the federal government has not come above is that, the $300,000, requirement in order to verify the reporting, which if you don't do, it sometimes doesn't harm you that much. It's also there. I just wanted to make a correction of this guy when he said, Duke, when he said that when
beyond our boundary, the Immigration Committee. I don't think we did, because what we were doing with the American Immigration Lawyer Association was private policy lobbying in order for them to go and influence legislators, so we were not directly involved in it.
Anybody else want to say something? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, when I say we went out of our boundary, really, from the past administration went all the way to DC and solicited the fund so that the TPS bill should pass. And there was a lot of struggle in that. There was a lot of struggle. And if we have to embark on a single thing like that, we may go out of our boundaries. Okay? So that is what I'm saying.
Thank you. Point well taken. We are very mindful of the limitations, and we're going to manage those limitations. We ourselves are continuing this effort, and we're going to be mindful of those limitations that we do not exceed the boundaries. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President, for recognizing me. I think the formation of such committee is necessary for this organization or for the Liberian community here, because our presence in this community is not felt by the politicians, so we are losing a lot of ground with people we have to, that we have to help us, like our friends who are in sympathy with our community. So I think the formation of this committee will help our community. So I think it's a good idea. That's it.
Mr. President, I just hope that I do not know if it is in the planned document for this committee, but I do know that among us there are people who are interested in the Republican Party and the way it moves, as well as there are people who are in the U.S. Democratic Party. So I hope that this committee is not going to be solely based on the concept that the Liberians are only supporting this group of people and they are not supporting the group. So I hope that this committee is going to have two phases. One, make up a group of people who believe in the Republican Party, and another, so they can be like, OLM is just, they have their political action committee and it's only Democratic. And then of course we'll have a serious problem, kind of moving forward. We want to do whatever we want to do for the committee.
Point well taken, but that discussion is premature for this setting. It's premature for this setting, and let's make one thing clear. When we say political action committee, it's not really a committee. It's an organization. It's a separate legal entity. It just has that name, committee. Yeah. So we are not engaging in the discussion of how that entity operates, who it supports. That's a totally independent process. So it's not something where OLM gets involved in.
So, Mr. President, you can take that as a suggestion. It's not something that I observe, but it's just a suggestion that when it's time to really put this committee into place, those ideas will be taken into consideration.
The new thing of organization really talks about creativity and to stimulate the ideal that you have to move your organization forward. I think the political action committee that you're talking about, if you tend to contrast the benefit with what the organization will gain, you will see the enormous benefit to the organization. I do agree with my Hayes back there. We have a whole lot of things that are staking and we need to be politically involved. If you're in a community and you live in America, you got to be acculturated to the system. You can't live in America and be in Liberia at the same time. And one of the pillars of America's political system is to have a political action committee that goes out there to lobby on your behalf. And we have to have something in place. Although we understand that the 501c4 will not be named OLM, but we should look at it hard because it does bring huge benefit to our organization.
3 more minutes.
The motion, or where do we go from here?
Well, no, we're not. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is an informative process for the community. The board and the administration will hash this out and come up to some resolutions as to what exactly we're going to be doing. But we want the community to be informed and solicit your input. If I wasn't asked,
it's a very good item, Mr. President. One who does not jeopardize our follow safety. But one of the things that I keep hearing is that Liberians are not too visible in most of the places. We have Liberians who have American citizenship, and how much time are we giving to kind of influence? We're in a country where people talk about power. And the only time you can really have power is to create a constituency that has power. So when it's time for election, look at Somalis, they look forward to them because they have a good number of citizens who can influence the power. So this action committee can kind of do a groundwork to identify, Liberians who have American citizenship, and that itself can create power for our community. Also, we need to develop a volunteering attitude where we can also impact the community. Like, for example, those who live in the cities of Bloomington, Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, give your own time sometimes to help in those areas. And by giving your time, when the opportunity comes for employment, opportunity comes for something, they always look up to us. Say, okay, let's give the person an opportunity. So the action committee can also kind of develop plan for that. How we can, how we can penetrate this system, how we can penetrate these places, so that Liberians can be more visible. People are looking at us on the opposite side that we are big, we are a bunch of confucianists. They have to look at us, but how can we change that negative perception? And so people look at their party people, who go to party and cause confusion. And what are we doing to kind of influence the community? So I think the political action committee, we can pass some information, some ideas to that committee that will help our community be more visible.
1 more minute. Thank you. Okay, I'll use that 1 minute to wrap up here. The key thing here is that we need to get involved. Even before we do these things as an institution, we as individuals are very free. There are 3 important civic participations when it comes to the electoral process in this country. You can vote, but you have to be a citizen to vote. The second thing is you can give money. You have to be a citizen or a green card holder to give money. The third thing is you can give manpower. Everybody can give manpower. If you got up to clean today, you can give manpower. You can go to your favorite candidate's office, make phone calls. We're doing that. You can go door to door dividing leaflets. You can go work in the office and do data entry. There are many things you can do, and we want to make it clear that everybody understands that there is something that you can do. If you can't vote, you can't give money, you can give manpower. Let's do that, because at the end of the day, when that person gets elected, your community leaders can go to them and say, Senator, Governor, President, the Liberian community gave you 10,000 man-hours of services. We have these concerns. Even before then, we can call them, and we plan to do that, especially for the 3rd district, which has a lot of our constituents. I've met with one candidate for, Jim Ramstad is retired, and Ashwin Madea, Terry Bonoff, and the Republican side, we plan to meet with them to lay our concerns to them. That we can do as OLM. This is where the Liberian community is concerned. We can't just meet with one person, we have to meet with all of them. And what we also plan to do is to provide a forum, invite them to a forum where they can engage the Liberian community. This is an election period that's historic. The participation is going to be very high, and the winning margins are going to be very low. So the people that are running for office understand this, and they understand that every vote counts. And they know that in Florida, the 2000 election, well, the United States, the presidency of this country was settled by 500 votes in Florida, and people are aware of that, and they respect you, and they respect your potential, and we want to make sure that we understand that, and we respect our potential and put it to use. So we thank you. We look forward to your help and your participation in these processes as we go forward. We're going to now move to the next item, which is the ULA leadership focus to pay attention to this issue. So we need to be there and make our case. And we plan to visit various delegations. We're getting lists of who strategic senators and representatives are that we need to engage. And we're also going to be engaging the State Department and the White House, because if we don't succeed to pass it in this Congress, the game plan is to create more friends, keep the issue out there, because if you don't keep it out there, people forget about you. So we keep it high on the attention level so that it can be taken up in the next Congress and we have more friends. That's why it's also important that we help, as individuals, we help people into office who will be sensitive to our issues. So it's very important that we succeed in these efforts. We need everybody's help to make this happen. The events committee has put together the program for this. We had some, bureaucratic delays, for lack of a better word, but we've gotten ULA's end of the funding, and our board is supposed to resolve that in the next few days, I've been told by the chair, so that we can go full blast. But it's a streamlined, simple thing. Tell your friends. Let's get out there. We've engaged Grand Rios Hotel on 69 for that. Tickets are $20, and we begin to publicize it, but because of these technicalities, the tickets will be released once we have our own administrative issues that are taken care of. So let's do what we can to spread the word. We've identified some means of getting information out to the community, which was used to help spread the word about this meeting. We plan to engage that. We also like to ask that we get names and numbers of people in the community that add to the database while we're waiting for official turnover of some of these documents from the Elections Commission. So I will rest there and yield the rest of the time for your questions. How much time do we have left, Howard?
14 minutes.
Okay.
The restrooms are downstairs. If you want to use the restroom, just go downstairs. Okay? Thank you.
I don't have a question. I actually have a feeling. Customarily, we go out to our neighbors, and they're talking about efforts of their citizenry, people who are donating time, money, and effort. You can hear their appreciation in their clothes. If I didn't stand as close as I am, I probably myself would be, nonchalant about what I'm hearing and seeing. Like they mentioned, Mr. Youngman and the efforts he made. We should, employ our people. People, it takes time. These people don't come home until late at night. They're not getting any pay for it. They're going in our interest. We should get really involved. Everywhere we go, people tell us we are not involved. That's a bad thing. And we wait till the dying hour, then we want to go and parade, put up flags, and say, see me right now. It's very important. Let's get involved. And let's commend our people who are working without pay and putting their time in and appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. President, thank you very much. I was honored about this meeting through the telephone system that we just created, and I congratulate you for that. Yeah. Given the importance of the July OLM meeting that is scheduled in April, and the extent to which that issue affects many of us, I would like to make a contribution for you to do a 2 days announcement through the same system, so that we can honor our contribution.
That is tax deductible, by the way. Mr. Youngman.
I just want to thank my sister for the statement she made, not so much so that
we want recognition. I feel that at the end of the day, when people get their citizenship or they get their green cards, they're going to sort out to see who contributed 10%, 5%, or 100% of their time to this cause. And so for now, I don't want that, but I'm glad that she can recognize that. What I want to mention here is, prior to this meeting, there have been a lot of calls. What is going on? What's happening? You see, I just want to say in short that I'm working for a group of people, and I'm one person who don't believe in making too much publicity about what I do. But I think the president attested to it that there have been a lot of meetings. Even before Christmas last year, the Jewish Community Action Team had been on the move, working along with us to make sure that we do everything to publicize. What I want to say here is, there was a question sometimes ago that there are not just the TPS people that are affected. There are people who refuse to take advantage of the TPS, but they cannot still be left out in the process. So our fight is not really for people who are on DED now, but it's also for people who did not take advantage of the temporary protected status. And so that's why we're working both to make sure that a comprehensive immigration bill that covers everyone, including even the illegals who enter here without documentation and what have you, as well as our brothers and sisters who did not take advantage of the temporary protective status. What happened with the temporary protected status? There is a specific bill apart from the universal bill that the government tries. So this is why it has the focus of most of the people who are trying to help us. So for those of you who feel that hiding will help, it's better to let people know. My former workplace, I told my director, I might not be significant, I might not be important, but I will not be able to focus if I don't have a status which can make me make long-term plans for my life. And the young people, they all the sign at my workplace. Even while I work now, they do the same thing. And since I began to do that, there is not a day that an immigration officer knocked my door and said, well, you're ready to leave. So what I want to say here in closing is, let us talk about our issues. There are people out there who are willing to help. The program we had, the Freedom Center, the president was there, it was just about Liberia. Let's help our Liberian brother and other immigrants. The Jewish Community Action have played. It's just about us. Let us not hide. When the day comes and we do not get what we want, you cannot go to plastic surgery to be different. So let's expose ourselves and let's talk to the newspaper.
Whatever I've said, I'm going to defend myself and those who don't get a message across. Every time there's a meeting, all these things I just said, I have not heard nor seen any before. Yesterday, if my sister Lucia not call me, I was not going to go. If Lucia is not there, it's faster. I'm going to call me. Now, March of I attend, we have put one person who makes all the calls. I'm going to tell you, and that person is me. If we get anybody in the church that is not coming, let me know and do all of that. If you have a standing committee here or a person that everybody will say that person is Mr. John Henry. John Henry, yes, there is a meeting with the Jewish people from all Liberians. When he does it at his home or at the OLM office, it will be done. It doesn't take that time off. Just only 2 days at the time. First day, call everybody, inform them. Last day, call everybody to remind them. That's enough. But I've never ever been given information. Besides, this is all banning. That's why we don't come. We don't know about it.
3 more minutes.
3 more. Yeah, go ahead.
I must commend everyone for what he said. But I personally don't agree with it because I am someone who has interest in the issue of TPS. I'm on TPS. I personally call people in the community to get their own money because I was wondering what was happening. I was at top 11 and I heard what
was said that we had to go to Washington before June 1. Nothing, as far as I was concerned, nothing was being done because I don't know anything. That's how I got the number. And I called people in my community to say, come to this meeting. Not everyone will come, but at least something will be said. If information gets out in the community, there will be one person. I hate to hear Liberian people don't care. Some don't care, yes, but there will be one or two people that will care. And there will be one or two people that will take initiative. I don't expect all Liberians to be like me. But if I care, if Louis tells one person, that one person may tell one person. Everyone don't have access to internet. People have access to internet, but they don't do it. They are busy. Everyone has their individual problems. So to say people don't care, that's not true. I went to Washington to one of those meetings. I call him, I ask him all the time. So if we can get the information out there to people, somebody will spread it. So we should concentrate on that, getting information out, instead of blaming people.
Yeah.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
During the meeting, call me and let me know about people is involved. I called over 10 or 15 people. Nobody showed up here today. All week, last week. Nobody showed up. Everybody going to work. Okay.
No, I'm involved.
When you communicate with people, you do not expect to have 100% response all of the time. The key is to continue to communicate. And I think, and I agree with what she said, I agree with what he said, because I've been complaining, and I know I don't want to sound, because I've had my own issues, I don't want to sound like I'm the one who's complaining all the time. But a few of us have tried to be active in this community. A few of us will go out of our way to get involved no matter what the situation is. The problem is we do not get the word. The word is not out there. I was in church today. I heard of this meeting late last night, almost towards midnight, and not one person in my church knew about it. Not one person. So it's true, maybe a few persons are being communicated with, and those few persons are contacting a few other persons, but the community at large, I think we have a problem with communication, and I think that's what we need to work on. We don't expect 100% attendance, but we need to work on that.
Where mine is an appeal and not to defend the fact that the message is not going out. I think if we get all of the phone number and our stuff, I mean, last night we were practically sitting down looking in our phone, our individual phone, looking for numbers to plug in so we get this thing out to you by last night. That's what we are doing. As soon as the database comes to us, trust me, it will get to you. Those names will get to you. But my appeal is on the 19th. Let's show up. People complain so much. People pretend to be so passionate about the immigration thing. And I'm sorry to say, but when it comes to really getting out to support it, then it becomes John Brown's business. On the 29th, let's show our support. It's going to be on the 19th. It's only $20, and it's not about the money. And it's not about the music you have to dance to. It is about the cost that you'll be supporting. So let's show up at the Grand Rio and pay $20 to support this thing, get some money. The folks that went there last year to Washington, D.C., they pay their way. And we shouldn't have people working for us and ask them to pay their way. We should be able to pay people way. I mean, the white folks that are helping us in this thing, we shouldn't have them pay their way. They don't have to do it. And if they are doing it, let's pay their way so when they go there, they are active. So show up on the 19th and let's see what we can do.
One last comment from our chairman.
We all know here that the largest congregation of Liberians is on Sundays at churches. All right? I mean, like Peabody was saying, I never heard, or I haven't heard in my church of any OLM function that's been going on announced. My suggestion to you, Mr. President, is for you to please meet the LMA, talk to them that once there's a function that's going to be hosted or organized by OLM, that you will please allow us to make announcements in their churches, and that our announcements can even form part of their program or in the bulletins, or you even send a delegation to go to those churches at different intervals to talk to them and to say exactly what you're doing in the community or what you're about to do.
Thank you. You know, you brought up elements, so that's why I want to close this section.
I'm looking around to see, we have another pastor here. You know, it's a sad story. And right now we are dealing with DED. Get 3 letters, DED. If we make one mistake and A gets in between, we're in trouble. Then we're dead. We are struggling and we make one mistake and A gets in the middle. That's it.
And my answer is in the middle there.
Now, all we have to do is we're trying to push that A away. And we all have to push it away. So it's a community thing. The brother made a very good point. But let's turn it around, because look, what we do at LMA every Friday we pray. That all the announcements, community announcement, we pass it on to the pastors. Where do they leave them? In the trunk of their cars. Those announcements are there. I have talked and reminded them. And some of the pastors even refuse to give announcements to the congregation. Let's turn this around. If you are a member of any church and we send out information and you do not hear the information, please go to your pastor and say, Pastor, or once you know about the information, write it down or print it. And if you have in this church, go to the pastor, can I make this announcement? And just go stand up and make that announcement. Please, let's do it. Let's do it, because if you wait for the pastors, they will not do it. And some of the pastors are even on DED.
And they want to make that announcement.
So let me be careful. Put a 1 letter A. We're going to swear it is.
What it entails, so we're allocating 20 minutes for that segment. So Harry, if you could wrap up in 5 minutes, we'll give them 15 minutes for Q&A.
Good evening. Well, this committee was charged with the responsibility of going out there and researching to see if there can be group coverage for the members of OLM. Now, we contacted a few insurance companies, and from our understanding, a lot of the insurance companies that we spoke to do not offer group insurance plans for non-profit organizations. They do offer group insurance plans, but those group insurance plans, most of them cover for-profit organizations, because the plans are so expensive. We were, however, able to get in touch with a group called Cultural Group Benefit Insurance, and that group insures, I think it is the only one in Minnesota, per our research, that insures organizations such as OLM, that is non-profit organization. And they just gave us, and I'm just going to give you just a brief summary of what they offer. But one of the requirements for offering the insurance benefit is they'll have to perform a census, conduct a census of the organizations to see how many members we have, what the demographic of our organization is, how many male members we have, what is the age, age span, what is the number of female members we have, and all of that. And based on that, they will determine what the premium is. They offer benefits ranging from $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, and $25,000. Now, I see one of the other insurance companies representative that we spoke to, but that insurance company does offer individual plans, and they have offered to come and speak to our members, because
we are just going out there to find out the insurance companies to see what kind of plans they offer. And once we decide we want these representatives from the insurance companies to come in to speak to our members, they can come and actually make the presentation to the members because they have the expertise. They will probably be able to persuade the members and tell them what the programs are, what everything involves, and tell them exactly what they offer. And based on that, they can make their decision. So that's basically what we gathered. And like I said, the cultural group insurance plan offers insurance levels at 5, 10, 15, and 25. Now with that insurance plan, for the initial enrollment, there wouldn't be this screening process. Okay, members don't have to be screened. Just fill up once the census is conducted. Just fill up the insurance, and then they decide to determine what the premium is, and they'll come and tell us exactly how much we'll be paying, and we can decide what level of benefits we want. But if a member decides not to enroll in the plan during the initial enrollment period, if they decide to come in afterwards, they will be subjected to the screening process. So they'll have to go through the medical screening and what have you. And enrollment will be annual at the anniversary date. So if members don't enroll at the initial enrollment period, they may have to wait until the next enrollment period to enroll. So that's the gist of it, and I'm open to questions if I can answer those questions. Otherwise, I'll probably defer them to the next. And also I would ask just for your permission to have the second, and I'm sure he's not prepared for this, but his insurance company was one of the insurance companies that I spoke to, but they do not offer this plan that covers nonprofit organizations. So he can probably come and give us some idea of the plans that they have to offer. Questions?
Yeah, one question before you start. There's something about a percentage of the group that has to be.
Oh, yeah, thank you. The percentage of the group that, in order for this group to ensure OLM members, we have to have at least 75% of our membership enrolled in the plan. So if we have 100 members, active members, so I'm assuming active members will be due paying members. So we have 100 members enrolled in that plan, we have to have at least 75 members enrolled in the plan to be able, or willing to enroll in the plan for them to cover us. And another thing another key here, we're looking at OLM membership due, and it's $5 a month. Now that might be, and if the due is what's going to cover this insurance coverage, we probably need to start thinking ahead, especially if we want coverage, that due cannot, because even if we were to say the premium is $5 a month, the organization will not be benefiting anything because we can't take all of the amount that we're paying for dues to pay for insurance coverage. So members need to be educated, or we need to be educated to the point that we probably need to increase our due payments based on all of the studies we make and what the result is. But we need to start thinking that the $5 due that we're paying per month may not be sufficient to cover us. Yes. Mrs. Hayes.
We're talking about life insurance, right?
Life insurance.
We're looking at age limitation.
That age that's where the demographics come in. Because the age, the higher the age, the higher the age, the higher the premium. Because the older the
if we're talking about the premium coming out of our membership due, does that mean that OLM will issue one check for each member, or each member will enroll, even though it's a group, when they choose to enroll, they will pay their separate premium?
The insurance agent that I spoke to said that the preference is to have the organization issue one check, and the organization goes after the members for that. That's the preference. That's the preference. But the other thing, though, because what the organization, what OLM will be doing is actually just be the custodian of these funds, for lack of a better word. But members will be aware that, they can be terminated for non-payment. So if they're not making the payment, definitely, they can be terminated. But the organization, this group here doesn't want to go after individual members for the payment. OLM can collect the fees, but they can be terminated for non-payment of dues.
Well, immigration status, will it be a part of consideration?
That's not a factor.
It's not a factor?
No.
Okay, so whatever DED or DPD is.
It's not a factor. No. At least that's not what I was told.
Okay, Madam Chair, in a follow-up to Marie's point, I guess that's where my question was. I think someone needs some kind of background history as to what's the good intention on their sleeves. What is it that you're talking about? I understand the point that you went on your research, of different things. But what's behind the reason of the research? Maybe I need some.
Okay, I think one of the concerns in the community has been that sometimes when there's death in the community, not everybody can afford, to take care of the funeral expense for our deceased members. There have been occasions where the community has had to come together to bury its members. So what this plan is supposed to do is to take care of those situations where members, and that's why there's a life insurance plan, where if a member dies, the family is not OLM that's benefiting from that, the family gets the benefit. But at least it relieves the organization of some of the burden of having to collect. It's not that the organization is not going to come in and help with deceased members and help the family, with taking care of the death situation or what have you, but at least it assists the organization. It tries to minimize the burden that is on the organization or the community as well.
Yeah, the reason behind my question or my concern, we kind of misconstrue things. We need to, there's a lot of work I know that has to be done on this project. Because we need to get this information out background so much so that we don't say, oh, they got life insurance. You know when that, don't worry, they're going to take care of it. Do you pay member when you die, I know there's a lot. The intentions, I just wanted some kind of history, so that, because to be a member of something, I want to know what I'm becoming a member of, but thank you for it.
No, you're right, and actually this is just an introduction to this whole process, and you're right, you know us like we know ourselves, and like I told the president and his team that, I and my committee, we're just coming here to present information. We're not collecting anybody's money. Because I don't want anybody to say, Harry took my money and I'm supposed to be insured this and what have you. But thank you, because this is just an introductory process. This has a lot of...
insurance.
No, we don't have it yet. A lot of work, because with this thing, we will probably need an entire meeting for that. 20 minutes is not enough to disseminate the information that we need.
Is there anything on medical?
I'm sorry?
Is there anything on medical insurance?
We are not looking at they do offer medical, but that might, I don't know if the organization wants to actually look at that for now, because it's going to actually make it a little complex. But if I think I'll take about 2 more questions. I will take questions after that, but then I'll have to second.
2 minutes.
Oh,
let me just say.
Let me second it because he was one of his insurance companies that I spoke with too.
Let me say 1 or 2 words about the insurance we're talking about. We seem to be missing huge portion of our finances in the community. You see, insurance is like wealth establishment. When you have insurance, God forbid something happens to you, you have that huge sum of money that comes back to you, intangible. You never can see it, but you pay that little premium over time, and the money comes. Now, when she came to me and told me about insurance, my company is American National Insurance Company. Okay, I serve as an assistant district manager for that company. They've been in business for 100 years. I suggested to her that what we could do as a community
Because like she correctly said, when you have a lot of age, you got more insurance to pay. You got less age, your age limited, you got less money to pay. We can use something called term policies, term insurance, term contract. Because what a term contract would do is that we have something in our company that will give you a 30-year term premium payment. That premium is stabilized. You got a term payment for maybe $19. 18, 19-year-old boy will get $19. Somebody older than that maybe will get $30. What you do, you pay that $30 over a 30-year period. But God forbid something happened to you within the space of time, the family will have to use some of that. And that actually it brings wealth to our community. Sooner or later, if our people, over the generation that they have lived in, most of them have been involved with a huge set of insurance, who have had so much money, and people talk about $5, $10, people are making money for insurance. It's not money making thing, but it's essential for our well-being. So we have to look at it. We got two kinds. Some of us will rent apartments, some of our own homes. The term insurance, you look at it like you rent an apartment. When you rent your apartment, then you don't pay that insurance, the landlord will actually bleed. Okay? You know, when you own your house, you got to go through this 3-4 months before you take care of that home. So you got a whole life insurance, you build a cash value in that policy over time. You get a term policy, you build no cash value, but you have the lump sum of money that will come to you after time. So I think we need to consider it. They're really huge.
And this is why I'm saying that this whole idea of insurance probably require a meeting by itself, because what he's explaining is you know, it's individual. This is individual life insurance. So he can use that opportunity to actually speak to our members and let them make their decision as to whether they also want these individual insurance along with the group insurance that we're offering. And 20 minutes is not enough time to cover that. I have more hands up. Okay, the President, I can take one more question.
1 minute, please. 30 seconds, please.
Okay, I have 1 minute, so I can use 2 questions. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I think OLM needs money. Why can't we look at it this other way? Where OLM serves as a referral agency, we promote an insurance company, and they in turn pay us percentage-wise on the number of people that we will recommend. And this is how we get it in Joshua time. When we got Eagle Fly, for every person we recommended, we had $10 or $1 depending on what they charge on that individual, and we have more than 600 people that are registered with Eagle Fly, and we got money from them. We can't just be promoting people here because we want our people to be on insurance.
Okay, well, what we can do is have you work with that committee and see, you know, just look at the proposal and study it and see if it's something that we can even do legally. One more question.
Time responsibility.
Yeah, last one.
Last question. Sorry, I don't know your name, sir. The one that you have down here. What is it?
In our own condition, I didn't know OLM. I have a woman in the house who is not active, and I'm not earning. And I actually an insurance policy for this group insurance. The woman dies. How do you go about it?
Well, if he's not insured, unfortunately, he wouldn't be covered. So I would say use that as an opportunity to have him insured.
I have a debt problem. Definitely OLM has to come in.
No. I got an answer to that. Whether it comes to the media or not, this is outside of our responsibility. Let's make sure our old folks be regular part of this organization. I can hear it from mom or feel my dad. He does not have to be at every meeting. I say it not,
those are getting many familiar faces that I've been able to have the privilege to be able to work with within the community. I want to say thank you. You truly are helpful whenever I call. You're there for me. You're there for Robin, and I want to say thank you. I want to also ask, though, if there are things that you would like to see us be doing in the community. Ultimately, my job is to be able to work with the police department and to be able to build the bridges within the new American communities, within Brooklyn Center and Brooklyn Park. Pretty much that job is open-ended. If there are things that you could see that we are doing, we offer a New Americans Academy twice a year. It's a 6-week academy. Many of you I see a couple of graduates already. from our academy. Marie's back there waving at me. Who's in the back? I don't forget anybody. We also have a multicultural advisory committee. We do have a couple of members that are sitting here in the audience today. So I would just like to say if there's something you'd like to see us do or be involved in a little bit further. I know I missed the inaugural ball and I apologize for that. I was out of town at a family wedding. I had a nephew that got married, so I understand I missed a pretty good party. So with that being said, I don't know, does anybody have any questions about how the police department does anything? I know this isn't, we didn't intend to take a lot of time, but go ahead, sir.
Yeah. I have a question. Shut up, this is information. You know, we're Liberians. We have a war situation in our country, and most of us came here for that reason. You know, when you have war, most people are traumatized. Yes. So we like to give parties, you know, to de-traumatize ourselves. That's a lot of therapy there. I'm not speaking your mind, I'm not speaking your mind. Some of our party rooms do a lot of alcohol now, and you know, some of them have fun gathering. You know, they're in Paris, you can't carry nothing. So I don't know, let's be trying to relax a lot.
Available to the other committee. And we immediately contacted him, and we CC copied the board of directors and the president, and we established a meeting. And Zeze wrote the president and the board of directors that the other committee appointed by this president is not qualified to audit him. And his premise for refusal is that when we audited Mr. Grant, we issue an unprofessional opinion. Well, when we audited Mr. Grant, the audit report was out there. Any educated person with common sense saw the report and they could evaluate that for themselves. So for Mr. Zeze to use Mr. Grant's audit report as a premise to not cooperate with this audit committee was a delay tactic. But let me let the Liberian community know right now that upon our appointment by this administration, it was made clear that our loyalty is to the community, not to the board of directors or the president. And we will remain neutral, and we will do professional work. And as far as the situation is concerned, the OLM Executive Committee was mandated by the Board of Directors to contact a lawyer for the legal process to start. A letter was written to Mr. Zeze. He was given a deadline by the lawyer obtained by OLM to make the receipts and other documentation that will authenticate his audit report by the 1st of April. That was the deadline. But prior to that deadline, the president gave Zeze 1 week to cooperate with the audit committee. He refused to do that. The board of directors called emergency meeting, and they also gave Mr. Zeze 1 week to cooperate with the audit committee, and he refused to do that. The lawyer gave him up to April 1st to submit the document to a neutral body, which is the lawyer. He refused to do that. But he's going around in the community saying that the co-chair and myself trying to put him in trouble. We're not doing that. If you refuse to cooperate, then the legal action will take its process. We're not going to sit here and people dupe the Liberian community. If you don't cooperate, then you got something to hide. So I just want to make that clear to the Liberian community.
Can I please recognize the chair has spoken later. We got to wrap this meeting up. Yeah, Marie.
Mr. President, this is a situation that may create some tension in the community. maybe I would say that we're probably doing the right thing to make sure that we get our report. But we need to provide more information. There are people who say that we're spending OLM money to pay for a lawyer, and who's paying for his fee to spend at his election commission chair. And he has obtained a lawyer according to what I read on the internet, and the lawyer responded to this. Who's paying for all his fees? I want to believe the community, what we just need to do is inform the community about what is going on. Because there's no need of us sitting down here to discuss this, since the board of directors has already given the okay to the administration to seek legal advice on this, or the legal action on this. We just need to inform the community about the legal action, if it costs us anything, why it is, and if we need the approval of the community to use community funds, if we have to pay for it, to do so, so that people are informed about what is going on, instead of just reading these things on the internet and making their own assumptions.
Thank you very much. Let me take the time now to deal with a couple of those issues. Number one, the lawyer is not charging us anything. We're getting pro bono legal services. We have commitments from 3 different lawyers in this community that have offered to give us pro bono services when needed. Mr. Ziz's legal expenses are not in connection with OLM authorized activities, so OLM cannot bear the burden of his legal responsibilities. He's been mandated by this organization to produce organizational property to the correct functionaries who are supposed to receive it. And this process baffles me myself, but what we have to be mindful of is that as of June 2005, the OLM operates as a 501c3 public charity. We're required to document our income and our expenditures. We have a 5-year professional status granted by the IRS. So in June of 2010, they will come to look over our books. In between now and then, they can call us and say, be ready in 60 days, we want to look over your books. And if our books are not in order, we'll lose that 501c3 status. There's no question about it. So it's not a personal issue, it's an administrative issue. People have to document their financial transactions. All we've asked the former Elections Commission to do is to provide the duplicate copies of the voter registration cards. Each of you that participated know that you signed the cards in duplicate. You took one, the commission took one. That copy is for us to have our database to understand and know who all actually are those who took part in the election. And that has information about your address and your telephone number, which we can use to contact you. It's also a means for us to document how much money should have actually been received on the revenue side. They have an expense report which lists about $13,000 of expenditures out of $18,000 that was collected. That is not supported by a single receipt. We need to have those receipts. It's not just for our purposes, it's for the purposes of the regulators that regulate our 501c3. We have to have that documentation. So the question of saying that somebody rendered an unprofessional judgment and therefore the bias in this, OLM audit is so simple, a market woman can conduct it. That's true. It is so simple. You're not looking at complex charts of accounts. You're not looking at complex financial transactions. If you say this item, you spent $500 here, you have the canceled check or the cash receipt. If you say you spent $200, you have the canceled check or the cash receipt. This is so simple. It is so simple. And what is transpiring here is disgusting. It's a lack of respect for this community, and it is capitalizing on the fact that this community, does not like to see tension. So people, oh, the two people,
Yeah.
that's what he's capitalizing on. Okay. And let me give you a statement. It's like you're in a plane and you're landing in rough weather. Change is not an easy thing to do. We're trying to change the culture of this organization. We're trying to change the strategies of this organization. So there'll be some rough times. But when you're landing in that rough weather and that plane is going like this, you don't open the door and jump out.
No.
You just stay calm, stay steady. The plane will land. Mr. President, we have no basis for holding on to this organization's doctrine. Absolutely none. And it will be very easy for us to say, you know what, he said he want a new auditor. So we'll give him a new auditor and say, let's try. But I'll give you two backgrounds. The LOFA organization is still trying to get an audit performed on his tenure. We've seen the same excuse used against that audit committee. We're trying to institute a culture here where if you're spending this organization's money, you know that somebody else is going to look over your shoulder. Now, if we change the auditor because Visit doesn't like him, and next time, Washington only spends money, time to go for audit, you say, you know that man on 70,000 3 years ago. Every time you do that, you don't do that. You can't build the institution by breaking down the very structure that you expect to strengthen it. And on the question of the grand financial report that he's speaking of, I was intimately involved in that. That financial report came to my committee, chairing the transition committee, and I know everything that transpired to that. I know that the audit committee sent a letter to Grimes, which he took and put back in the mail. Then he proceeded to write the chair of the board, the president, to say it was unconstitutional to audit him. He stonewalled the audit. He called me, he called several people. So the audit committee was constrained to go on the basis of the documents that they received, and they did the audit and said he should account for $2,400 something. They didn't say he did anything, they just said give account. It means we don't know what happened to this money. Come and give account. That report lied down for over a year. Okay? It lied down for over a year. And then somehow, strangely, in August of last year, we saw this report authored by the former board of directors, special audit review committee that came up with a finding that the report was invalidated because the audit committee never contacted Grimes. There's a whole paper trail of contact. So that board felt its fiduciary responsibility to this community because they were aware of the contact, they were copied on the contact. And so this is the same basis that he wants to use to stonewall this audit committee. But I can guarantee this audit committee will not be changed. We will not condone that practice because we want people to respect the audit committee. It's the only way we can institute transparency. So the lawyer has offered Mr. Zizek through his new lawyer to send the documents to him for the second time, not to Mr. Gibson Kiko now. He's offered to provide accountants to go over the documents. Yeah. So let's see what he does. This is so simple. Yeah. I tell you right now. Let's hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would like to know from you with respect to the existing allegations.
Please speak a little bit louder. We can't hear you. My battery is low.
Mr. President, I would like to ask you with respect to the allegation of not wanting to submit to the auditing team that you appointed. I also want you to take into consideration the goal of a unified, of a leader. That is the key thing I want us to take a look at, on knowing which approach we should take in this community. There are a lot of allegations around the Liberian community is divided. Well, we cannot deny it because we are seeing it around us. And I think as our new elected president, we strongly believe that it is your responsibility to do everything possible to unify this community. So the approach of going to due process, we all believe in accountability and transparency, but I think we should take into consideration certain information that the other party are providing. I think it makes some level of sense that we will look into it and say, oh yeah, okay, for the sake of transparency, or we'll bring in another audit to monitor the audit, and then, just to make sure this audit is the result from that audit can be true. Because with all the allegations going around, if they audit it to see and come up with a result and say, because they say it's not giving account, you will say, I said it before. And it will make sense in the case of other people who get clear to. And we want to live in a community that will be together. We are not prepared to live in a community that will continue to be divided. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me, and before I recognize anybody, I want to say this administration strives to do all it can do to keep this community united. But let's look at the concept of unity. I always say this, look in a family of 5. Are they always saying the same thing? Is everybody wanting the same thing? Look at the state of Minnesota. The state is divided between Republicans, Democrats, and independents. Democrats are divided between conservative Democrats and liberal Democrats. Republicans are also divided. We saw a Republican election in Johnstown, we saw it. So let's be realistic when we set goals. Even in the kingdom of heaven, there was division, and God has to cast out Lucifer and say, get out of here. Okay, so when you talk about unity, you don't sacrifice everything for unity, because it's not even human. 2 of us here will disagree on approaches. We'll have different philosophies. What we must be united on is a sense of purpose. We want this organization to be functional, to be strong, to be accountable, to be transparent. And if so, what do we do?
Mr. President, as we all seen around our community right now having a serious problem. And this problem, if we don't pay attention to it, it will continue to go further and we will have bigger problems. Right now, we have a serious problem facing our communities as such as immigration, and we are fighting on other things. Personally, I will tell you, if you have anybody in the community that will eat the Liberian money and think that will go around, I will tell you, go after them. Thank you. I will tell you, go after them, because I don't think it's right. We should put away those things, and we should set an example for our children that are born and come, that giving birth to in this country, that they won't come and follow our footsteps and be like, oh, we'll just walk away and don't agree on anything. So if somebody will come in the community and will not get a proper accountability, I personally will tell you, go after that person for our own good tomorrow. Not you, not me, but for the whole community. And my last but not least, I live in St. Paul, and I've been hearing the rumor has been going around. There's another Liberian community is emerging. I don't know if you heard about it, would you like to tell our community, the audience here, if you know anything about it and what we're doing about it to post start to it and bring our people together?
Well, I do know about it. I know that I have a dozen to 10 people involved in this process. It's something that happens in this community after almost every election. And, you know, people try to flex their frustration. And we know that based on the people in St. Paul that I've spoken to, that this community is interested in pooling its resources through the OLM. This is the organization that they know. This is the organization that they believe in. We have reached out to a number of the people that are in that group. I think we're beginning to understand them. They're beginning to understand us. We think that in a matter of time, that will be something that you'll say once upon a time. We'll take 2 more questions. And then we have to move on. Oh, okay, a few more. If I was to put a hand, we got do that guys for you. Go ahead.
Honorable President, I'm here neither to support Zeze, not to castigate him, but I support your stand on accountability and transparency. In a sense that the mess that our brothers and sisters are in Ghana today is because of irresponsibility in Liberia. That is why the sword-breaking is lacking at the Liberians today. And your both stand on accountability. I applaud you for that. Now, I'm still talking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now, in the case of Zeze, you have taken a lawyer, and Zeze has taken another lawyer again too. And now, in the last paragraph of Zeze, he advocating for reconciliation. And Mr. President, I will be happy if your lawyers and his lawyers can cooperate so that this man get proper accountability, because he's saying that he doesn't trust the present auditing team in your administration. If the 2 lawyers can come together and reconcile and have a proper transparency, it would be a nice thing instead of going fighting. Should avoid that.
I will certainly appreciate that also, and I think the OLM lawyer has given him an option to send the documents to him so he can make it available to accountants, and this is not even going to cost the OLM. So he can make it available to neutral accountants to go over the documents. So I think
You are going to ask me?
No, why?
Mr. President, thank you very much for being here. Mr. President, I think you've done a very good job pulling us together and having this successfully. We were able to trade minds. I think time is fast spent. People are saying one thing over and over again and again. You were elected on the mandate. The board members were elected on the mandate. They took a decision. We are here to support you. Mr. President, can we talk about ending this meeting so we can be here?
Yeah, because we're 25 minutes past, so we're going to take 2 comments. Will Park Grant and Captain, and then we'll... Well, please keep our comments to 1 minute so we can wrap up. We've already approached the LMA. We have a nomination from the LMA and that individual. Once we go through that, we're going to be making that announcement. So we passed that step already. Thank you. Yeah. Come on.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I think I feel morally obligated to contribute to the discussion, because I take, for example, you got a whole room of jury, and one party is present and the other party is absent. people are passing judgment. I think it would be unfair. All the position here is about Zize. Because Zize has not had the time. Most of these people here have not what happened. So you have the chair, the other people.
No, he said he attacked dog. So it's true.
But that's what we say. That's what we say.